Good day and welcome to episode 8 of the MicroMuse. Today's topic is That Should Have Been Me, which is definitely something that I have said before. I don't know if you have ever experienced this. You're like, oh, I've got this great idea. And you think about it, and you think about it, and you think about it, and then somebody else makes it. And you're like, God damn it, they've done it. That's my idea. They stole my idea. And it just feels too late. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to run through on that theme because I was having this very conversation with a client last week, and they were telling me that they'd had this idea for the book for a very long time, and they kept seeing people in their industry publish their own books on similar topics, and they were just like, "Oh, this is just passing me by. Like this topic is, it looks like it's hot. It's passing me by, and I am being left behind, and it should have been me." And they are now writing their book, which is obviously awesome. I'm helping, but I just wanted to kind of address a couple of the things that stop them from getting started in the first place, and also the nature of ideas, because as my friend and client and style mentor, Samantha Harmon pointed out, ideas don't belong to anybody. Like ideas are just out there, and people have the same ideas at different times. So, for example, Edison gets the credit for the light bulb, but he wasn't the only one who was working on the light bulb at the time. There are other people who had the same idea or very similar ideas at a similar time, because that's how kind of technology develops. It's like people are working on similar stuff. And Charles Darwin obviously wrote On the Origin of Species, and he gets all of the credit for the theory of evolution by natural selection. He's not the only one who came up with that idea. Another person came up with it independently and in a different part of the world, and I cannot remember their name. And it's not that either of them had stole the other's ideas. It's like, who can get their idea out there first? And obviously there's a lot of structural stuff, like people are gonna, like, so many women and Black people and people of color had ideas first, and then literally had those ideas stolen, or that were just overlooked. Not even had their ideas stolen, but their ideas were overlooked until somebody else came up with the idea elsewhere, and that idea kind of came out. So that there is kind of that danger as well. But ultimately, if we have an idea and we think it's a good one, it's our responsibility to get it out there sooner rather than later, because otherwise somebody else is going to do it first, which isn't a barrier to doing it yourself. And I'll come to that in a moment. So yeah, the other thing that that can stop us from getting that idea out, and this particularly can happen if we've sat on our hands for too long and not done the thing because we're scared or we're worried or we're too busy or whatever. The other thing that can happen and stop us even more from getting that book out, as my client was talking to me about the other day, is, well, now my idea is not unique, and somebody else has talked about it, and doesn't that mean that I can't talk about it? And the answer to that is a resounding no, for a bunch of reasons. First of all, there's no new idea as such under the sun. Everything is developed from old ideas and putting things together and learning from what other people have done before. So there is that. And it doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to use James Clear as an example because I really enjoyed his book Atomic Habits. And he's not the only person or the first person to write about habits. There are loads of books about habits out there, but he wrote it in such a way that it obviously resonated with somebody in a publishing house, and then they gave it a lot of kind of clout, and he's done really well, as he should. I love his work. He's a really nice guy. But he had come up with this idea of, like, atomic habits, and nobody had framed it quite that way before. And it's not that people haven't talked about tiny habits before, they had, but, like, he had thought about it in this particular way. Like my micro book magic, people have been writing teeny tiny books and pamphlets for hundreds and hundreds of years. Like George Orwell wrote tiny pamphlets. One of his favorite is oh my god, I can't even remember it now. one of his best known anyway is Politics in the English Language, and it's a real short, like, it's like 20 or 30 pages long, treatise on politics and how basically politicians lie to us all the time, and that's really short, and it's a little kind of booklet. And so my idea to make a micro book is not original. It's just that I called it Micro Book Magic, and that is what it has become known as. Did not stop me from writing about it, will not stop me from writing about it in future, because my take on this is from my unique lens, and my client's take on their book that we were talking about the other day is like, I haven't heard anyone talk about it in quite that way before. But even if I had, like, often the most popular books are written by people who we expect to see. They're straight white wealthy men. And there are so many more experiences of the world and insights that we can get from people than just that. And so I'm like, my client is not a straight white rich man. And so I'm like, I want to hear your perspective on it. Like, I want to hear about and their book isn't on productivity, but productivity is a really good example because oh my God, that genre just gives me the absolute rage because it's like, oh, all you have to do is get up at 5 a.m. and like have your ice bath and do your this and that and then like work uninterrupted for 4 hours. And they don't mention that they've got, a wife or a nanny in the background taking care of their children and all of the other shit that goes with running a life and a household. And it gives me the rage because then people like me will read it and be like, not, I don't have children, but people like me or parents will read it and be like, oh, I am so broken. I'm lazy. What's wrong with me? I can't do that. So I am far more interested in reading a book on productivity by somebody whose life looks a bit more like mine, and particularly reading a book on productivity by someone whose life doesn't look like mine and who has, children and maybe another job and maybe elderly parents to care for and maybe comes from a place where, there is systemic barriers to them achieving stuff because, oh my God, A, that's so much more interesting, and B, it's so much more helpful to literally everybody than listening to the very privileged view, which isn't without merit, there's nothing wrong with it, but like that's not the only view that I want. So whenever I hear that, oh, this topic's been done to death, it's like, maybe it has, but honestly, it hasn't been done by you and your like storytelling and your personality and who you are and your experience is going to resonate with a really specific group of people who, okay, yeah, it might not go mainstream, it might not become a New York Times bestseller, but that doesn't matter. Like, it depends what you want to do with your book. So what I'm saying is, really, it should have been me. Yeah, it should. So let's stop sitting on our hands and stop making excuses, because often they are excuses. And let's actually get that book started and that idea out into the world because it is valuable. Like, there are people out there who are going to be so grateful that you wrote it because all they have are a bunch of books written by people whose experience does not resemble theirs at all. And they might get some use and value out of them, but they're going to get so much more value from your book and your story. So that is what I would like you to take away from this today, is that, yeah, okay, there might be a load more books written by other people on the same or similar topics, but they're not yours and they don't have your insights and they don't have your nuance. And this, by the way, is why all of the AI dross is just going to fail because it's all the same. Like, people who I've seen a few people be like, oh, I'm like writing my book with AI. And I'm like, cool, go off. It's gonna whatever, because it's gonna pull from what's already there and it's gonna stop you from finding the insights in your own brain and your own life. So yeah, I'm not saying don't use it as a tool. This is not about AI, but I am saying that don't let all of that stuff stop you from making your idea your own and putting it out there because it's really valuable. So my 2-minute takeaway is, yeah, if you've ever sat there and thought, as I have in the past many times, oh my God, that should have been me. I can't believe that absolute flannel has written a book or created a product or something. They've stolen my idea and oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating and it can feel like a personal attack. It isn't a personal attack. So I want you to take all of that frustration and use it. List all of those reasons why your book should be out there in the world, why your book would be better than that one that you've just seen that other person do. And get it out there on paper because that's going to be your catalyst to start writing it. So set a timer for 5 minutes, have a little rant on your page. Nobody else has to see it. Probably nobody else should see it, depending on what you say, but that's okay. And that's going to give you a place to start. Like, list all the reasons why your book should be out there in the world. And then you can follow and subscribe me. You can go to moxiebox.co.uk/freebies to join my mailing list and get some free goodies to help you write your book, to help you use your voice to make good trouble. And once you've done that and you're like, yeah, hell yeah, I am ready to write my book because I'm not going to sit on my hands any longer. I am fed up of my own bullshit. I am ready to do this, but I don't know where to start. Then DM me because I have one spot this summer starting in July for Book Coach in Your Pocket, which is really fun. And if you're not sure whether this is for you, you can book a quick call with me or I can get my current book coach in your pocket client, if they're willing to drop a quick note down here, because it's really good fun. And I also have one spot for the summer, so July, August, September, for my 3-month book writing coaching program. So drop me a DM about that as well, because I am fed up of seeing amazing people sit on great ideas and great books that should be out there in the world. I really am. Yours needs to be out there. We don't do anything until we're fed up of our own nonsense. So if you're fed up of your own nonsense, drop me a message and we will de-nonsense you. Thanks. Just as a reminder, you can follow me right here. Have an absolutely splendid week. I'll be back same time next week.